Like the game would slip away from the Browns, Shedeur Sanders made his return. Despite the physical toll the game was taking on him, Sanders was not about to back down.
I liked a whole lot of what I saw from Shedeur Sanders today at home against a very good, very hot Buffalo team, especially against an extremely experienced and hot and opportunistic Buffalo defense.
To complete nearly 7 out of every 10 passes was impressive, particularly when factoring in the constant pressure and lack of consistent support from his receivers. His 67% completion rate was not only a career high, but it also put him in the conversation.
Week 9, they have not spent a whole lot of time in the red zone. Off the boot, Sanders connects with Fannin for the touchdown.
The Cleveland Browns dropped another heartbreaker to the Buffalo Bills, falling 23-20 in a game that stung for all the familiar reasons. But if there was one player who gave Browns fans something to believe in, it was Shedeur Sanders. The rookie quarterback took some vicious hits that forced him out of the game temporarily, but he came roaring back with the kind of grit and passion that turns doubters into believers. Cleveland may have been overmatched across the board, but Sanders delivered a performance that had the entire league taking notice. In a game full of adversity and tough breaks, Shedeur Sanders showed exactly why he's a future star in the making.
It looked like Dylan Gabriel was coming in. Sanders is off the field with his helmet off. Let's check it with Evan.
Yeah, he rushed right off the field, headed to the locker room or the tent right now. It's his pinky finger. Appeared to either be his nail or the tip of the finger with some blood attached to it.
Both teams came into this matchup with clear expectations. The Bills, powered by superstar quarterback Josh Allen, were heavy favorites, and for good reason. Their explosive, high-octane offense had been tearing through defenses all season long. The Browns, meanwhile, knew they had a mountain to climb. Cleveland's defense was respectable, but the offense had been wildly inconsistent, struggling to find any kind of rhythm week after week. Still, the hope for a competitive showing rested squarely on the shoulders of their young signal caller, Shedeur Sanders.
Episode like for it.
I don't know. You can look online and see what my finger look like if you want. I'm sure they got the details on there. I don't know. My pinky was just like, I put it in my hand warm. I'm like, why is my pinky not getting cold? I mean, why is it not getting warm? Then, like, I threw Quinshawn like a little route down there. Then it like kind of was a little high. And I was like, dang. So then it was over.
Right from the opening drive, Sanders showed why he earned the starting job. He stepped onto the field with composure, confidence, and a maturity that seemed way beyond his years. Early on, he delivered a beautiful strike to his receiver for a touchdown that sent the Browns faithful into a frenzy. Sanders displayed lightning-quick decision-making and pinpoint accuracy that immediately turned heads across the stadium. That early touchdown felt like a statement, like maybe, just maybe, Cleveland could hang with Buffalo. For a fleeting moment, it looked like the Browns had a real shot at pulling off the upset. Sanders' first touchdown pass was absolutely gorgeous. A perfectly placed ball dropped right into his receiver's hands while defenders closed in fast. The throw was crisp, quick, and executed to perfection, offering a tantalizing glimpse of what this kid could become for this franchise. Cleveland grabbed the lead, and the momentum seemed to be shifting in their favor. But then Buffalo's defense made adjustments. Known as one of the most aggressive and talented defensive units in the NFL, the Bills weren't about to let one early success define their game plan. As the first half rolled on, Sanders started feeling the heat. Buffalo's ferocious pass rush, featuring some of the league's most dangerous edge rushers, began bringing relentless pressure. Sanders, still navigating his rookie campaign, absorbed some of the most punishing hits a quarterback can take. The Bills' defensive line came after him wave after wave, and Sanders found himself under siege. Midway through the second quarter, Sanders took a devastating shot after releasing a pass. The hit crushed his hand, and he stayed down for several anxious moments before finally being helped off the field. Watching Sanders limp to the sideline had Browns fans fearing the worst. Nobody knew how serious the injury was, and there was genuine concern that his day might be done.
I did everything, to to come back because I didn't want to put like Dylan in a bad situation, you know, like since when I was a 2. And like it's tough to play that role because you don't get reps, you don't get anything. And I was talking to him, I said, bro, my bad, bro, for putting you in that situation, you know, because it's not ideal, and I want, you know, him to be prepared whenever he was out there.
But just when it seemed like Cleveland's slim chances were slipping away, Shedeur Sanders came back. Despite the physical beating he'd already endured, Sanders refused to stay on the sidelines. He returned to the field in the second half, determined to finish what he started.
I did everything, you know, to come back because I didn't want to put like Dylan in a bad situation, you know, like since when I was a 2. And like it's tough to play that role because you don't get reps, you don't get anything. And I was talking to him, I said, bro, my bad, bro, for putting you in that situation, you know, because it's not ideal, and I want, you know, him to be prepared whenever he was out there.
The Bills had seized control of the game, but Sanders wasn't about to make it easy for them. With Cleveland's offense sputtering and his receivers struggling to get separation, Sanders was forced to create magic out of thin air. In the second half, Sanders displayed the kind of mental toughness and raw talent that coaches dream about. Even with Buffalo's defense collapsing the pocket around him play after play, he stood firm and continued delivering impressive throws. His ability to fire accurate passes while under heavy pressure proved just how much he's developed as a quarterback. The constant punishment didn't shake him. Instead, he got back up every single time, brushed off the pain, and made throws that most quarterbacks simply can't make. Unfortunately, despite Sanders' heroics, Cleveland's offense couldn't capitalize on most of those opportunities. The lack of a reliable receiving core severely limited Sanders' ability to move the ball consistently. Time and again, he'd launch perfectly thrown balls downfield, only to watch his receivers drop them or run the wrong route. Whether it was concentration drops or miscommunication, it was painfully obvious that Cleveland's pass catchers weren't holding their end of the bargain. Meanwhile, on the opposite sideline, Josh Allen was putting on a clinic. With a talented group of receivers and tight ends at his disposal, Allen carved up Cleveland's defense with surgical precision. His chemistry with his offensive weapons was on full display, and he consistently moved the chains and put points on the board. Allen finished with 3 touchdown passes and reminded everyone why he's considered one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. His performance was efficient, polished, and stood in stark contrast to the uphill battle Sanders was fighting with his own supporting cast. Still, Sanders' individual performance didn't go unnoticed. His career-high 67% completion rate was a phenomenal achievement, especially given the circumstances. He was going up against one of the league's top defenses, and his ability to complete nearly 7 out of every 10 passes was genuinely impressive when you factor in the relentless pressure and the lack of consistent help from his receivers. That 67% completion rate wasn't just a personal best, it firmly placed him in the conversation among the most promising young quarterbacks in the entire league. What truly stood out about Sanders' performance wasn't just the numbers on the stat sheet, it was the heart and determination he displayed all game long. Even though Cleveland was clearly outclassed on both sides of the ball, Sanders refused to let the game spiral out of control without giving everything he had. He threw dimes, made gutsy decisions under fire, and showed a level of poise that seemed impossible for someone so young. In a season filled with disappointment for the Browns, Shedeur Sanders provided something Cleveland desperately needed: hope. As the game wound down and Buffalo pulled away with the victory, it became crystal clear that Sanders was the reason the Browns stayed competitive. He was the one who kept them in the fight, refusing to let their team get blown out. While Josh Allen's performance was certainly stellar, it was Sanders who emerged as the heart and soul of Cleveland. His passion and commitment to winning earned him the admiration of teammates and fans alike. For a team that's been heavily criticized for its offensive struggles, Sanders' performance was a breath of fresh air. He proved that even when facing overwhelming adversity, you can still make an impact. His career-high completion rate, his resilience, and his ability to step up when the pressure was at its peak made him the clear bright spot in an otherwise frustrating loss for the Browns. Some critics will inevitably point to the sacks he took and the interceptions that hurt the team, but Shedeur Sanders accomplished something far more meaningful than just putting up clean numbers. What really mattered was his ability to battle through adversity, showing resilience and an unbreakable spirit. Every sack he absorbed, every interception he threw could have crushed his confidence or caused him to crumble. Yet Sanders stayed locked in, never allowing the mistakes to define his performance. Instead of giving in to the pressure, he used each setback as motivation to push even harder, proving he has the heart of a true warrior. His refusal to quit, his ability to bounce back stronger after every hit, and his continued leadership of his teammates spoke volumes about his character. In a game that was slipping away from Cleveland, it wasn't the sacks or the turnovers that told the real story. It was Shedeur's relentless fight that made all the difference.
I feel bad because, like, I do it, but, yeah, truthfully, yeah, it hurts. It hurts.
Looking forward, there's no question that Shedeur Sanders will continue to be a cornerstone for the Cleveland Browns. As he continues to grow and refine his game, he's absolutely on track to become one of the league's elite quarterbacks. The Browns' future looks considerably brighter with Sanders leading the offense, and his performance against Buffalo offered a thrilling preview of the player he's destined to become. While the Browns may have lost the game, Shedeur Sanders won something far more valuable: the respect and admiration of fans across the entire NFL. He proved that even in the face of defeat, the heart of a champion can shine through. The future is incredibly bright for Sanders, and the Browns have found a quarterback who's ready to lead them through every high and low the NFL throws their way. Cleveland may have taken the loss to Buffalo, but in the eyes of countless fans, Shedeur Sanders won hearts everywhere. So, what do you think, fans? Did Shedeur Sanders prove that he's more than just a rookie quarterback? Despite the tough loss, was his performance enough to show that he's got the heart and the fight to lead the Browns into the future? How much do you think his resilience and determination will shape his development going forward? Can Sanders overcome the challenges of a weaker receiving core, or do the Browns need to make serious changes to support him? And most importantly, do you believe he can rise above these tough moments and become a true franchise quarterback? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.